It might be the most lavish stadium in the NFL. It is certainly the most expensive stadium we've seen in the NFL. SoFi Stadium, host of tonight's incredible playoff matchup between the Cardinals and the Rams. The Stars will be in the stands. The Stars will be on the field. And this might be the only stadium that is nicer than Cliff Kingsbury's house. Skubie Mageza, Jason Fitz, it is time for the playoff tailgate delivered by Pizza Hut. Skubie, this is it. The first time we get a Monday night matchup for the playoffs in the NFL, and we get two division rivals facing each other for the third time in a season, a season where they split their opening matchups against each other. This is the chance for them to decide who the ultimate victor is, who goes on, and to get the rubber match between two incredibly talented teams out of the NFC West.
And both teams really have something to prove, right? They've been really good at one point this season, and then all of a sudden digress to the point where, like, is this still the same team that we thought they were early on? Matthew Stafford, a lot to prove. Kyler Murray playing at an MVP level early on, and now he has to find a way to pick it up ever since that ankle injury. And we're seeing some guys coming back from injury as well. One specific guy, J.J. Watt, on the Cardinals side. So a lot to look out for with Eric Waddle coming out of retirement on the Rams side. I mean, just a great night for football, right?
Yeah, well, one person not available, obviously, is going to be DeAndre Hopkins. We won't have him on the field. And the offense for the Cardinals has just flat out looked different. I mean, at this point, they've lost 4 or 5 without him, and it's easy to see why. And Kyler Murray has a great relationship with them on the field. He adds that extra explosive element. Plus, he's one of the best wide receivers. Sometimes we make simple things complicated. The simple thing here is that Hopkins is one of the best, and he will not be on the field, which, when you're facing, to your point, a depleted secondary for the Rams, would have been a huge difference maker. It's just not there for him yet. So the Rams get a little bit of safety net in not having to take on one of the best, Skubie. But even through all of that, I think there are expectations galore on this Cardinals team and their ability to generate offense with Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury both under the magnifying glass for their ability in this platform.
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury, that offensive mind. You got to be able to show us what you can do. And yes, DeAndre Hopkins isn't there, but a lot of teams are dealing with injuries as well. And this is that point of the season where it's got to be the next guy up. Step up, show you what you got. They still got guys like A.J. Green, Rondale Moore, Christian Kirk. Those guys can still play football well, and they're going against a depleted secondary, as you mentioned. And then you have a quarterback who can do it on the run and with his arm.
Yeah, well, we'll have plenty of looking forward to come for you over the course of this show, but we also have to do some looking back, because as much fun as it is to have a playoff tailgate delivered by Pizza Hut that only thinks about the future, unfortunately for you and I, we have to think about the past, and that includes, apparently, a fun little video that has been made that I'm not sure I'm going to love. Let's check it out. Welcome to the loser's circle, Skubie. And, you know, I guess I'll start here. I watch it. I'm just proud of myself. The fact that I used the little asterisk instead of the whole word there, I think that was a level of restraint. This was an up and down game. The whistle is obviously going to be what everybody talks about. And yes, the correct application of the rule is that the play should have been redone in the second quarter. But I got to say this repeatedly over and over again. That's not what beat the Raiders. The Raiders beat themselves with the number of penalties they had. They made this game look ugly. That's what they've done throughout the course of the year. But they end up losing to a very talented Bengals team. The only bummer is that it went so far down to the edge. I really thought the way the season had gone that the Raiders were going to pull it out. I got that little tiny bit of hope at the end of all of it. But realistically, I'm proud to have watched a playoff team that fought their tails off in the weirdest year I've ever lived through in a fan for reasons far bigger than anything that happened on the field. Still, it was a big old kick to the grape nuts to see it end that way. But at least I got to watch a playoff game Scooby, I have no idea what's going to come next for the Raiders. Could be unparalleled change for a team that just made the playoffs. We've already seen the breaking news today that Mike Mayock is out as GM for the Raiders already. I have no idea what the future looks like, but I know that on Saturday I held my head high and said, man, playoff football is kind of fun. I could get used to watching this.
Yeah, and I think you hit it right there, the nail on the hammer. Not one play always decides the game. That's what my coach always used to say. So there's a lot of truth in that. But man, Fitz, that was another crazy game. I was with you in Indy when we were watching them play the Chargers, and I just wonder how crazy you were when you were watching this game as well. What was it like watching it?
Yeah, I mean, so I did ask at one point, I offered my children that I don't have to the football gods, and I stand by that decision, by the way. Like, reading it back, I feel good about it. And I did say at the end that, when's the last time that you were this proud to be a fan? But yes, through most of the game, I was actually kind of calm because I was like, it's just fun to watch some playoffs. It's going to be fine. Then we get to the fourth quarter, and that's where the chaos ensues. And, Scooby, I think I taught an entire street in Nashville words that they didn't know. So sorry to all the parents out there. You might have to do a little like, somebody needs to Amazon me a bar of soap because it did not get family friendly in there. There was a lot of things I regret saying, but ultimately I survived it. Now, Scooby, I survived a heartbreaking loss. You survived as a fan, and this is rare that I get to say this. I'm only saying this because we're in the separate rooms. You got your ass whooped as a Patriots fan. How you feeling?
Oh, whatever. Listen, 1 point, 20 points, 30 points. A loss is a loss. I don't care how much it was. But let me tell you, man, from the moment that game started all the way until till the end, the Bills were in the driver's seat, and I came into that game saying, all right, if Josh Allen doesn't play the best game of his life, again, I think the Patriots have a chance. So what does Josh Allen do? He comes in and he plays the best game of his life again. I think I cut the game off by halftime. I was like, listen, I can't watch this anymore because it's 21 skunk early. And the Bills, they were just the better team, man. Like you said, I'm proud of my team for getting to this moment in time because it was at one point during the season when everyone was calling the Patriots off, when we had lost a number of games. We have a rookie quarterback. A lot of free agents were added on to this team. What I wanted to see is, can they fight? Can they play? Can they get to the playoffs? They were able to do that, and they're going against a team that's looking like one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, kudos to the Bills, and you're right, Josh Allen, a historic day. So far in the first round of the playoffs, we've seen some impressive performances at the quarterback position. Let's bring in our guy, Joey G. Joey, come on, man. Let's get the conversation here. I know Joey G, for anybody that doesn't know, Joey G, superstar behind the scenes, superstar waiting to happen in front of the camera. Joey, I'm just happy you're hanging out with us. We're going to talk some impressive stuff, right? What are you holding up the L here?
You know what I'm doing here, Fitz? And first of all, I appreciate the introduction. But a Grammy award-winning musician yourself, I am playing the world's most smallest violin for these poorest explanations for your team's losing, guys. Come on.
Listen, it's
look,
okay.
First of all, you know how hard it would be to play a violin that size? Like, your fingers could never find any spot to play. Like, it wouldn't be that easy. And Joey G, would you like to tell America who your favorite team is and what they were doing this weekend?
I'm a Giants fan. But I'm honest. I could have said, you know what? I could have said I was a Bucks fan. Like our man Scooby probably is now. Scooby!
Oh.
That ain't you, Scoob! Yo!
What are we doing, Scoob?
Shout out to our boy Zach on this. Scooby, that is you, my man.
No.
Yes.
You know why Scooby hates that? Scooby hates that because it's a pudgy picture. Scooby's like, I work my tail off in the gym every single day. I do not look like that, son. That's what Scooby's mad about.
Yo, y'all really dropped that on me out of nowhere. So this is the type of show we got.
We're going to be acting up all show, and we're off to a trolling start. Speaking of trolls, this man right here might be Jason Fitz's arch rival.
No, you can see this child. I look like a tiny child. This was the bet, Jordan. If the Bengals beat the Raiders, I agreed to wear Bengals gear on the next Sports Nation.
I was thinking this the whole time I was watching that game. Why the hell do you guys romanticize an autumn wind? You know what it was? winter time. So in the winter, we love the wins in the winter because it's winning time. You guys play for the beginning of the season there in Las Vegas. The autumn wind is a Raider. Well, you know what the January wins are? Winning playoff time. It's what the Bengals do. Throws on those rose-colored glasses, baby. One more time, Joe Burrow. Because we're coming for Nashville. Your next Titans.
Maybe get one Super Bowl win before you come at the autumn wind. I'm just saying the autumn wind is a delight, and the Bengals haven't ever won a Super Bowl. So.
Fitz, I'm not sure.
Hey, Scooby, I thought this was the baby right here. I thought this, I don't know where I find it. I thought this was the baby that cries and pouts when it doesn't get its way. This little baby Joey. I didn't know baby Fitz was one too. Fitz, with all that whining, would you like a bottle, my friend? A whistle in the second quarter is what defines you guys? You can't get away from me, my friend. On every platform you pop up on, I'm going to find you, my friend. You play music. You got my wife in love with you. He's so good with his voice. He plays the piano so well. Well, you know what I do? I just win. So, yeah.
Wow.
You weren't expecting this.
Wait. I saw your race. I saw your foot race. I don't think there's a lot of winning in it. A former athlete, that foot race, I don't think there's a lot of winning on that, Jordan. And by the way, you're 1,000% right. If you're offering me free alcohol, I'm always going to take it. I was all in on rooting for you against the Titans. Now you're making me question things. What are we doing?
Hey, you know what? You know what it is? I'm a Cincinnati Bengals guy. Scooby, you know this. You guys are aware of the history. We've never won a Super Bowl. It's been 31 years since we won a playoff game. I'm just happy we're in this moment. We're new money. I'm going to act like new money. I'm going to celebrate when I can. I'm going to celebrate when I can. We're all in new territory. Scooby's still giving up points to the Bills somewhere right now. Fitz, you're sitting here firing everybody in the Raiders organization. And that's me, just living my best life. Underneath those shades was a very blitzed middle-aged man who was enjoying his life. It was a great atmosphere in Cincinnati. Anthony Munoz, for crying out loud, the greatest left tackle of all time was hanging out with me. I knew we were going to win. I'm just disappointed we didn't win by double figures. I wanted to bury Fitz's Raiders, but I'll take a dub.
Man, it must have been incredible to be at that game. When you were at that game, take us through the emotions and then the celebration after. You got the swag. You had the social media postings. What was it like to be at that game and to experience the first win in over 30 years?
Well, Scooby, the thing is, and people forget this watching us on whatever media platform is, we're fans just like everybody else. And rarely do our schedules align where we get to be out in the wild as fans and witness something as historic. So for me, it was incredibly refreshing because as much as it was about, the Tyler Boyds who've been there through the losing and been wildly productive, for as much as it was about Joe Burrow and his recovery from the ACL, a miracle recovery of sorts, you can go down the line, Jamar Chase being picked over Sewell. Some people didn't agree with it, but it's worked out glowingly. For all those things, it was great for those players, first and foremost, absolutely. But the city, there's so much emotion there. We're not talking about a Super Bowl win. Merely one playoff win because we didn't know when it was going to happen. So to see Paul Brown Stadium sell out, it was the largest crowd on hand in Paul Brown Stadium history. To see the emotion, look, as invested as I am, tears didn't come from me. But as I looked to my left and right, I saw people crying. It was a really cool moment. When the final play went down after the interception, victory formation, people didn't leave the stands there at Paul Brown Stadium. People just wanted to relish in the moment. And then they went to the bar and further imbibed after that. But to be in the presence of all those Cincinnatians who were just so ecstatic, it was really special.
Well, you mentioned the bar, Jordan. So talk a little bit about Coach Taylor deciding to give a game ball to the city of Cincinnati, showing up in the bar with the ball. That's got to be amazing.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, Fitzy, because I think we've seen in the last few weeks a guy that's really endeared himself to the city. Obviously, getting this win goes an incredibly long way. But I think some of the gutsy calls, in the game that ultimately got us here to clinch it, went a long way versus those Chiefs and how he handled that. And I think there's been some head-scratching decisions from a guy like Zac Taylor throughout this season, most especially. We know about the losing in the years prior to this, but he's kind of stuck the landing here as of late. I loved his game plan yesterday going in. I feel like him understanding the history of this goes a long way for the city. And, I'd like to say we're playing with house money, because we've gotten that one win and we're ahead of schedule. But I think it's okay to feel greedy. And I think Zac Taylor, I know Joe Burrow and the rest are thinking, we're just scratching the surface, not for years to come, but for this year. Why can't we go into Fitz's backyard there in Nashville and do some more magical things? I think everybody truly believes. And the way that Zac was embracing that bar was just one of those moments that you kind of illustrate where he's at and how he gets down with the city.
Jordan, you will forever be my Joe Burrow. Always cool, always know how to win, and always look good while you're doing it, my friend. Congratulations. I've seen you wear that shirt for about a day and a half now. Go take a shower. On behalf of your wife, go take a shower, Jordan. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Thanks, brother.
No meantime, shower,
on Monday
no
night,
shave until we win. No shower, no shave until the dub in Nashville.
I'm sorry, man. Shay. I'm sorry in advance. All right, I'm not sorry about the fact that we have Monday Night Football playoffs, which means we have a ManningCast. Here's a little bit of a taste of some of the best of the Mannings.
Welcome to Monday Night Football with Peyton and Eli.
Would you be more comfortable tonight if we just booed you tonight just to kind of get you in the mood? What do you think?
I would love it if you guys booed me. Who wouldn't want to be booed by the Manning brothers, right?
The games we played against each other, although I enjoyed much more the ones I played against Peyton and Eli.
I enjoyed all our games, Tom. I really enjoyed them all. We're showing halftime highlights. Is anything off limits? I would give the bird. I don't know. Can we do that? This helmet doesn't fit. Shocking that a helmet doesn't fit you. Boom, boom, boom. These hips don't lie. I'm like Shakira.
Because I ain't playing, so I had a 3-shot. So I took one for me. I took one for Big Breath, and I got one for Little Breath.
D-O-double-QBs, baby.
Welcome to the family, Snoop. Welcome to the family. What the heck is going on here? This was fun, bro.
For the final time this season, Peyton and Eli back on ESPN2. Don't miss it. Now, let's talk football delivered by Pizza Hut. We're going to give us some of our favorite storylines, like cheese pizza from Pizza Hut. Our favorites. Yeah, that's right. I'm a cheese guy. So, Scooby, I want to start. Favorite storylines of the playoffs. Derrick Henry. Here's your factor that only interests me. Number 22, Derrick Henry, will be coming back on January 22nd of 2022, 22 years after the last time the Titans went to the Super Bowl. That's all sorts of 22s. Let's go!
Deuce. Yes, I love that. Where'd you get that from? Doing all that radio? You always have those fun statistics. But it's good to have Derrick Henry back for this team, and he's definitely going to be a problem. He was leading the NFL with 219 carries for 937 yards and 10 touchdowns before he was hurt, and he still finished 6th in the league in rushing and 9th in rushing touchdowns, which is just ridiculous since he's missed the majority of the season. But now let's look at how this team is going to look like when he gets back. They've already done a great job being able to continue having a running game with him out. With him returning, that even brings more of a threat and entices defenses to stuff that box even more and have more of an 8-man box. So this team is going to be dynamic with him back, and the fact that they stayed afloat as a number 1 seed without him is impressive.
Yeah, and Cincinnati going to be decimated on the defensive line. So lots to go through there. All right, another storyline as we take a look at our favorite storylines delivered by Pizza Hut has to be Tom Brady going for the repeat. That's right. Now, you know a lot about Brady, obviously, Scooby, but Matt Castle has maybe the tweet of the year, as he points out on his tweet. Thought I would have to tell my future grandkids about Tom Brady one day. At this rate, they may get to go to one of his games. He's not wrong. All Brady does is figure out ways to win.
Man, it's ridiculous. And he's playing at such a high level. He threw more passing touchdowns than his age this year. And we all know Brady is old as heck. So the fact that he did that is impressive. And then in the game, his average release time was 2.1 seconds each throw. That is the quickest release time ever since ESPN began tracking the stat in 2016. So at his age, he's moving quicker, he's playing better, and you and I both know he understands the process very well of how to be a champion from our Man in the Arena broadcast, and we're seeing it come into life.
Yeah, watch those old comments. Brady's my age. All right, the next storyline delivered by Pizza Hut. Cowboys and their coaching future. This is a tough one because the Cowboys lose, obviously, in a heartbreaking fashion, but with a lot of lack of discipline the number of things that went wrong. And for anybody that's blaming the officials on this, you are absolutely wrong. But Cowboys Vice President Stephen Ross said, absolutely, quote, very confident that McCarthy would return. Jerry Jones was a little bit less committal right after the game. I think there's a real conversation, Scooby, to be had about what's going on with Dallas and what they do moving forward.
But isn't Jerry just being emotional right after the game? We know how Jerry is sometimes. But at the same time, coaches have to be great in situational football moments, and the Cowboys were not great in a situational football moment. In training camp, you practice those moments where your team has to understand that you have to give the ball to the referee in order to snap the ball. They did not understand that. Because of that, a couple seconds were wasted off the clock and they lost the game. The Patriots, great in situational football moments, which is why they win. It makes all the difference, and we saw it make a difference.
Yeah, at the end of the day, my biggest question to anyone that wants coaching change is, why is it going to be different? I mean, the coaches have been the issue for the last several hires. I'm not sure what fixes that. I'm also not sure what fixes sad Cowboys fans. But you know the internet was going to capitalize on the opportunity to have a little bit of fun at their expense. Check this out.
I was getting emotional watching that. That hurt me to the core for real. For real, that hurt me.
Show it again.
Seeing those fans like that,
Come
man.
on, y'all.
Man. Oh, my God, man. Oh, my God, man. Those are great people.
That's beautiful. This is beautiful, man.
Y'all gonna hijack the show with this,
They in the
man.
house. That's what I'm talking about. Look at her. And look at the sister right there. That's my favorite one right there. She look at the y'all ain't worth it there. That's what that look is. That's what that look is right there. Leave it to the sister to be real, right? You see that? Oh, she's showing the blue wig on. Look at this brother right here.
I still don't know why we're not calling Stephen A. out for still having his Christmas decorations up. His stockings were still hung by the chimney with care on his video about the Cowboys. All right, Joey G welcomes us back. Joey G, you've got some fun to be had with Buffalo, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised they let me back or let me to the E block after all the trouble I've been causing. But Scoob, I hate to keep rubbing it in.
Here we go.
Here we go. Bills Mafia posts electric content on social media. First up, baptism by table. Look at how cute he is. Him or she?
Let's go.
Oh, you have a little crack up.
Okay, that's amazing.
Hey,
go.
We baptized my nephew a couple weeks ago, and if I was a Bills fan, he would have got thrown through the biggest table that my family's got.
You know, what I love about that is there had to have been a conversation before the baby was born that they were going to do that right away. That's a commitment there. As you go through that whole process, I'm imagining like the guy having to get the bag ready for the hospital. She's like, it's time. And somebody's like, wait, where's the table? Where's the table?
Speaking of
That's the
tables,
introduction.
but great Bills of Fire.
Oh, my Lord.
Scooby, what's up? Get your mans.
Listen. That's the reason why the Bills haven't won a Super Bowl in a long time.
They're too busy cracking tables on fire.
That's where their focus is. You know, us Patriots fans, we're just focused on the championship. You know,
Salty.
Hey,
Salty.
guys, six. All right. I want both of you to remember that. I've watched 6.
Fitz, would you jump off a dumpster into a dirt burn table?
Sound like an old Steelers fan. You're already like, he's already the guy that's like, look at how many we've won in the past. Not that. But I will ask you guys this, like, as the cheap guy in the room, I do like a real question. Like, these folding tables are not inexpensive. If you've ever gone to Walmart to buy a folding table, they're kind of pricey. Like, now you're setting stuff on fire and laying it on that table. Like, who's cleaning up the mess? Like, who's jumping up and down on that? What's your folding table budget look like? Like, I have so many questions.
Fitz, there's you
Honestly,
right there.
I would love to jump through a table like this, and my Pats fandom won't allow me, but there's a part of me that just wants to go to Buffalo during the beginning of the season, because not when it's cold, and jump through a table.
Sneaky Macho Man vibe by that last jumper, too. Like, he got the legs out, got the elbow up. Like, that was some solid 80s WWF work right there.
Fitz, I was just about to say, it reminds me of Spike Dudley back in the day. Shout out to the Dudley boys.
Yes.
And speaking of Dudley
look at
boys and chaos, this is unfortunately my friend, Mike Parlato. And Fitz, I don't know if you remember the video from last year with Stone Cold rating my friend Greg, trying to crack beers, and Stone Cold gave him an F. This kid's even worse than that guy. Apparently, I need to find new friends.
Okay. Yeah, no, but like, I'm actually impressed by your friends because my group of friends would have moved the table. Like, there's no doubt, like, in the air, that table's getting moved and somebody's busting their ass. Like, there's no chance that table actually stays where I'm impressed with Joey G's friends. Like, that's a solid group.
So, was he okay?
He texted me. It said, quote, "I've never been in so much pain in my life." Shout out to Mike Parlato. And for our final one, guys, there ain't nothing like a little bit of Fitz Magic Mike back in Bills Mafia celebrating shirtless in this big win, Scoop.
No, absolutely not. Do you know how cold it was over there? The players were complaining about the cold, and you're going to take your shirt off?
Maybe that's why the Patriots lost. They don't got grit.
I still wonder, like, why do people do that to their nipples? Why? Like, if you don't have to do that to your nipples, why do you do it to your nipples? Like,
Fitz,
also, how many times can I say nipples before we're all uncomfortable?
You're taking the words right out of my mouth. You've set a digital live streams record for the amount of times nipples has been said on our broadcast.
I feel proud that I didn't get butt crack sweating this one. Joey G, you are the best, my friend. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Get new friends. Get new friends. That's all we can advise you. The one thing I do know is that Matt Stafford and his friends are all hoping that they have a full stadium tonight. In fact, his wife, Kelly Stafford, said earlier this week that last week's game against the Niners seemed like an away game. So she was begging fans not to sell their tickets to Cardinals fans coming into this week. So let's go to Phil Murphy out in L.A. and see if her plea worked.
Fitz, Scooby, what's up? Here outside SoFi Stadium, and looking around, man, I don't know if Kelly Stafford has much to worry about. Her asking Rams fans not to sell their tickets to Cardinal supporters. I see a whole lot of blue and gold, not a lot of red from the Cardinals. Even as I was driving in, it was like a 95-5 split in favor of the Rams. The thing is that really a good thing? Arizona, the best road team in the NFL, 8-1 away from home. Kyler Murray, 15 touchdowns, 3 picks. It seems like the Rams will have their hands full with Kyler Murray and a depleted secondary, but one thing they don't have to worry about, at least in terms of quantity, is a home field disadvantage tonight.
That's great work from Phil, as always. So let's get into some of the conversation about this game, Scooby, as we break it all down on Playoff Tailgate delivered by Pizza Hut. So, Scooby, when you look at legacies, J.J. Watt's going to be back in this game. A lot for him on the line?
Yeah, and it's insane that he's actually able to play this game with as many injuries as he's had. He basically just ripped his shoulder out of his socket for the most part. But J.J. Watt is superhuman. You see what his brother T.J. Watt can do, and his leadership cannot go unmeasured. So having him come back for this team is definitely going to be a boost for that defense, going against an offense that has a lot of talented players.
Yeah, well, and going against Matt Stafford, who has a lot on the line for his legacy as well. I mean, Stafford at this point 0-3 in the playoffs, and it's easy to blame that on the Lions. You don't necessarily get that same level of blame at this point. Stafford's going to have expectations going into this game, and it's partially because of our next conversation about pressure. When you start thinking about this Rams team, they went all in on this roster. They went all in on Matt Stafford. If you're Sean McVay, the wonder coach, we've talked about it before on this show, like there's an expectation and a pressure around the Rams. Can you deliver with a talented, stacked roster? And the answer sure as hell better be yes, because you've traded away your future opportunity to get draft picks. So, Scooby, I'm looking at this thing as a pressure cooker. Like, this is the rice is getting cooked in the pressure cooker thingy because, man, SoFi Stadium's just going to be steaming with pressure on the Rams.
Yeah, exactly. And Matthew Stafford started off the season hot. And the reason why he started off the season hot, because he was one of the least pressured quarterbacks in the entire NFL. And with that time in his pocket, he was able to be efficient, and then he was able to get this team to the next level. But as the pressure has increased, his production has decreased, which is why having J.J. Watt come back is so important. And who knows, is this going to be his final game when we speak about legacy? We don't know. And, him having missed the season, it's tough for him to maybe walk away from it after this. But Matthew Stafford, a lot of pressure because Was he the problem in Detroit? Everyone wants to say that things in Detroit was a problem. Now you got everything that you need with the Rams and that head coach and the receivers and running backs. Can you still get a dub? You're defeated in the playoffs. Get a win.
There is some pressure, though, on the Cardinals, especially offensively in this game, even without New Coppins. I have to look at this and say the Rams are playing without both starting safeties. You mentioned it earlier. Eric Weddle is 37 years old, 2 years out of the league. He signed with the team 5 days ago, and now he's going to come in and be expected to play meaningful snaps against a Cardinals team that I think has some pressure here because Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray should be able, with the other weapons they have, to get some level of production against a defense that is just decimated on the back end.
Football is not like basketball. You can't just all of a sudden get off the couch or get away from the gym and be like, I'm about to play some playoff football. Like, this is what they're asking him to do at 37 years old. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm interested to see how it works out. But the drastic measure of this happening shows you how depleted that secondary is, and which is why the Cardinals need to be able to find success in the passing game because this Rams defensive secondary is hurt.
So let's get to our game picks. Scooby, I'll go first. I think so far we've looked throughout the course of the playoffs, and with one major exception, that being the San Francisco win over the Cowboys, the more talented team has won. And to me, the more talented team is very clearly the Rams. So I'm going with the Rams shootout type game. A lot of points going to be scored by both teams, but I trust the Rams and Sean McVay to get this one done. I'm going LA. Who do you got?
You know, when you look at the Rams and you think of a player, the face that automatically pops up in my head is Aaron Donald. And that guy is still a problem. And they still got some playmakers. And Von Miller and OBJ are starting to sink into that team's system a lot more. So I got to go with the Rams because when it comes down to it, I think those playmakers can make plays at the end of the day.
Well, we let Shay Pepler-Cornett, our great usual host in this seat. She was doing a killer job on SportsCenter tonight. She's still got to pick in for us. Shay has also picked the Rams. So we are a clean sweep across the board for the Rams. Let's see how it plays out over the course of the show. What I know is that if you authenticate in the app, you can hang out right here to watch all of the Monday Night Football you need. Thank you so much. He's Skubie Mageza. I'm Jason Fitz. For everybody behind the scenes, we appreciate you watching Monday Tailgate, delivered by Pizza Hut. Enjoy a spectacular Monday Night Football wildcard game.